It was alive in a way that words could scarcely describe, alive with the hum of insects, the rustle of leaves, and the calls of birds and beasts that echoed through the dense foliage. It was a place where the earth seemed to breathe, where the wind whispered secrets through the towering trees, and where every step taken was a venture into the unknown. For Lila Harper, the jungle was both a dream and a nightmare. As a wildlife biologist, she had spent her career studying the creatures of the world, but there was something uniquely primal about the rainforest. It was a place that spoke to something deep inside her, a calling she couldn't ignore, a pull that had brought her here, to the heart of the Amazon. Lila had always known she would return to the jungle. As a child, she'd read every book she could find on explorers, adventurers, and the mysterious worlds hidden away from civilization. She had been captivated by stories of wild places untouched by time, places where nature ruled supreme. And now, after years of study and preparation, she was finally here, standing at the edge of a jungle so vast, it seemed to go on forever. Her team, 2 other biologists, a guide, and a photographer, stood behind her, their eyes filled with a mix of anticipation and apprehension. Their equipment was heavy, their gear carefully chosen for the expedition ahead. But as Lila looked into the dense canopy before them, she felt an electric thrill course through her veins. This was no ordinary jungle. This was the last great frontier of biodiversity, a place where the wild still held dominion, and where the secrets of the earth were buried beneath the thick layers of plant life. "Ready?" asked Marco, the guide, his voice low but steady. He had been born and raised in the Amazon and knew its secrets better than anyone. Lila trusted him implicitly, though there was always a certain wariness in his eyes, an acknowledgement that even the jungle's most seasoned explorers could not fully understand it. Lila nodded, her breath steadying. "Let's go." They stepped forward, the thick underbrush parting under their boots as they made their way into the dense forest. The air was hot and heavy, each step feeling like a labor of strength as they hacked their way through vines, roots, and thorns. The sun barely filtered through the towering trees above, casting long shadows that seemed to flicker and shift as the wind moved through the leaves. "Keep close," Marco warned, his voice hushed. "The jungle's never quiet, but sometimes it is. And when that happens, you'll know something's watching." Lila didn't ask what he meant. She had been briefed on the dangers of the jungle, the predators that lurked in the shadows, the venomous creatures that made their home here. But there was something more in his voice, a warning that went beyond the usual advice. She knew it wasn't just the animals that made this place dangerous. The jungle itself was an enigma, a place of contradictions, where life and death coexisted in a constant, unyielding dance. The team moved deeper into the jungle, their progress slow but steady. They stopped briefly to take samples from the plants around them, cataloging species that had never been recorded before. But Lila's mind wandered. The deeper they went, the more she felt it, something was changing. The air was thick with tension, as if the jungle was alive with a kind of awareness. It was a feeling she couldn't quite explain, but one she had learned to trust over the years. As they trekked further, the jungle seemed to close in around them. The trees grew taller, their branches intertwining above to form a dense canopy that blocked out most of the sunlight. The undergrowth thickened, vines twisting like snakes around the trunks of ancient trees. The air grew heavier, the humidity rising as sweat clung to their skin. Lila wiped her brow, looking ahead at the faint clearing that Marco had pointed out on their map. It was a small patch of land, a place where a river was said to converge with an ancient waterway, where signs of human activity, possibly remnants of a lost tribe, had been discovered in previous expeditions. "We should make camp soon," said Lila, glancing at the others. They had been hiking for hours, and the weight of the humidity was starting to take its toll. "Agreed," said Marco. "But be prepared. When we reach the clearing, things may get unpredictable." Lila didn't need to ask what he meant. The jungle had a way of revealing its mysteries at the most unexpected times. As they approached the clearing, the air seemed to shift, a subtle change in the atmosphere. The usual hum of insects and the distant calls of birds and monkeys faded, replaced by an eerie silence. The team exchanged nervous glances. "What's happening?" one of the biologists, Sarah, whispered. Marco's gaze darkened. "We're near the place the locals call the Awakening. It's said that when the jungle grows quiet like this, it's a sign of something ancient stirring." Lila felt a chill run down her spine. She had heard rumors of such places, areas where the jungle's power seemed to manifest in strange ways. Some spoke of an ancient energy that pulsed beneath the earth, a force that could awaken the spirits of the past. Others claimed that those who ventured too deep into such places were never seen again. But Lila wasn't one to shy away from the unknown. Her curiosity, her drive to understand the world around her, had always been stronger than any fear. As they reached the edge of the clearing, something caught her eye. A stone structure, half buried beneath the earth and covered in thick moss and vines. It wasn't large, but its presence was undeniable. The carvings on the stone were ancient, worn by time and the elements, but still legible in parts. Symbols she recognized, animals, plants, celestial bodies, and figures that seemed to tell a story of a long-lost civilization. Lila's heart raced as she stepped forward, her hand brushing against the stone. The air felt charged, as if the jungle itself were watching, waiting. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed through the ground, vibrating the stones beneath their feet. The jungle seemed to shake, and for a moment, Lila thought the earth itself was coming alive. The sound grew louder, until it was a roar, like the call of the jungle itself awakening from a long slumber. And then, as quickly as it had started, it stopped. The air settled, and the jungle returned to its usual hum. But something had changed. The silence that had filled the clearing moments before was now replaced by an odd sense of anticipation. The jungle was alive in a new way, more vibrant, more powerful, more present than ever before. The team stood frozen, unsure of what to do. But Lila felt it in her bones. The jungle was calling, and it had just begun to reveal its secrets.